Hello, fabulous superstar Leo. Welcome to your horoscope for the month of November 2024. I am your astrologer, Nadiya Shah. Thank you for being here. It is a remarkable astrological week, without a doubt. Big moves happening in the sky now. Boys, at a very special time. And it truly is so special now. Powerful energies are with us. And it starts right out of the gate. As we begin the month, we do so with a new moon happening on the 1st of the month. This new moon takes place at the foundation of your chart, having to do with home and the past and your living situation and your family of origin, your rootedness for yourself, but also in the world and feeling at home within yourself, in your own skin. The thing I love about this new moon is that it is speaking in supreme harmony with Saturn. That brings with it groundedness. That brings with it opportunities that have the potential to last a really long time. And if it is that you are hoping to move, for example, this would be a really good time to do so, to sign papers or whatever the case may be. It'll end up being this wonderful window where it is likely going to be a place that you will be in for a good while. And likely going to be something that feels like it becomes more valuable to you as you go along, especially in the fullness of time. But for all that, this can also be a new beginning or good news related to a parent in your life in particular, where that applies. It can also be seeing the past differently, like the groundedness of this energy. It's almost like you're grounding, putting in the past whatever you need to. But this can also be a beginning that is about starting something that requires you to work in your own time and space, and nurturing that at this time. If it is that you work from home or with homes, this can be a time of more opportunities and new opportunities that find you, especially those that are rooted in things like one-off payments, commission payments. Those seem to be the ones that are especially blessed at this time. Navigating forward, the 15th of the month is huge. It is a big deal energy. We have a full moon that is a wild card energy and other factors happening in the sky. Let's start with that full moon. It is hand in hand with Uranus. That brings with it a surprise a minute, a shock a minute. And it is an energy of some extremes. But here's the thing. Neptune is speaking in harmony with this full moon. That brings with it hope and inspiration. And it is Pluto that is speaking in supreme harmony with this full moon. And it will be just 4 days later that Pluto will change signs. And so this is really the last important big aspect that Pluto is going to make while moving through a part of the sky for you that has to do with your daily life. That full moon is in a career-related part of your sky. And I think that's quite remarkable, actually. To me, this full moon says changes to career, social status, life purpose understandings. And it is contributed to by an understanding that you want to live differently in some way now, that you put in the time, you have already put in the work, you've developed mastery of sorts, and now this is energy that says all or bust, right? It says either you're getting big recognition and you're leaping forward on the career front, or you're realizing a certain path that you've been on. That ain't it, and that ain't for you. This full moon is rather dramatic. And here's something else. On the day of the full moon, just hours before it perfects, we have Saturn going direct. And Saturn is moving through a part of the sky for you that has to do with the truth. And Saturn represents truth as well. Well, you can see here that you are being asked in all kinds of ways to be honest with yourself. And where it is that that honesty contributes to a change in your understanding of your purpose and what really matters, what a higher, more loving vision for your life just might be, well, that might be a painful truth in a sense, but ultimately puts you on an accelerated path to actually align with what matters to you now. More importantly, what matters to you next. That is part of what this full moon is going to show you. It's either going to be wild, big opportunity, or it's going to be realizing that where you've been wanting that opportunity, that ain't it, and you going another way. finding peace with that. Where it comes to matters of love, on the 25th of the month, Mercury goes retrograde. On the 5th of the month, Mercury goes into shadow. It will be in the middle of next month that Mercury will go direct, and at the very beginning of January, Mercury will leave shadow. I find these energies rather remarkable, actually. This is Mercury retrograde season in a heart-oriented part of the sky for you, having to do with romance and flirtation. You are one of the signs that needs to be mindful that breakups that happen tend to not stay broken up with a Mercury retrograde season like this. But outside of that, this can also speak to an awareness around what you are really wanting in the context of love, where you've had it, where you haven't, giving voice to it. For some, this is going to be reunions, like surprise reunions with people that you might have been connected with before. Now, this part of the sky isn't about partnership per se, it's about dating. So it would be somebody who, maybe you had a fling with, right? Or you dated for a period of time in the past. Mercury has to do with communication of all kinds, including online communications, and it also has to do with transportation as well. So it's in these particular contexts that you may have this reunion take place seemingly out of nowhere. Here's the thing though, Saturn is squaring this energy, this particular Mercury retrograde repeatedly. It's not the only square that it's going to make. It's a key characteristic of this time, this larger dance of Mercury and Saturn that is set to happen. And that suggests bitter truths, right? Needing to accept certain realities, needing to be honest with yourself. But it might be being honest with yourself about how far you've come, being honest about who you were in the past, who you no longer are, being honest about what your feelings are today, being honest about how much power you might have in this given moment, how what you thought was before just might not be the case now. And so, yeah, there are difficult truths as part of these reunions that do take place for you now. Now, this sense of you, walking onto the subway and, oh, sitting right there, here's that person, right? That kind of tendency, it is there regardless of your relationship status. It's what you do with it that is going to depend on what your relationship status is as we begin this month. So for those of you open to meeting someone new, whether it's a reunion with someone from before, but it could also be a romance, a fling with someone that you are having now that is very much like a past experience, or they are very reminiscent of someone that you were with before. And this is part of awakening and understanding for you about where you are, how far you've been, what patterns have been there, what patterns you no longer want to repeat. All of that could awaken for you at this time. But if you are reconnecting with new people, let me just say what you think it is and what it actually is could end up being two very different things. And whatever your first impressions might be, especially if you're connecting with them during a Mercury retrograde season, you just might see things very differently next month once Mercury goes direct. Now that could go either way. Again, it could be way better than it seems at first, but it really could not be as well. You're going to have to navigate that. And for those of you who are just starting to date somebody, again, breakups that happen do not stay broken up. But for all that, it's going to be interesting for you to see your own old patterns arising in the context of this person that you might be dating. The relationship might change in some way, especially once it is that Mercury goes retrograde. And so you'll have to be mindful of that. Like it may enter a period of time, a portal of time, but then ends up being something else once Mercury goes direct. So pace yourself to the best of your ability. You're still learning about this person, but also learning about yourself and what it is that you might be wanting. And for those of you in an established bond, remarkable energies as well. This speaks to what you need to feel loved and finding ways to get it, especially from your partner. So this could be one of those moments where you are communicating that much more. Miscommunications are very possible. Breakups based on miscommunications tend to be the signature. But for all that, where relationships are good, it'll just be miscommunications and missed opportunities to have fun together. No big deal, makes for interesting stories. where you've had serious doubts about the relationship, a lot of that is going to stir for you now. And it's going to represent, this Mercury retrograde will represent a time of contemplation as to what it is you want to do next. What I love about this month for you, there's so much here. It's a powerful and meaningful astrological moment. I'm going to say I love the energy that we have at the beginning of the month with that new moon. That new moon is very stabilizing. There is stress in the air. I do want to be straightforward with you. We're going to have Mars opposite Pluto. That is a big energy. I've spoken about that in its own horoscope on my YouTube channel and also in the superstar space as well, which I'll tell you about in just a moment. But the new moon is one of you very quickly feeling grounded, feeling at peace, feeling stable, feeling rooted. And that could be in a whole new living space, or you realizing what home is for you in new ways. But whatever it is, it cultivates a spirit of stability and even peace. Thank you so much for watching. You can get a video like this each and every week for each and every sign for as low as just $3 a month. Choose your membership rate at NadiyaShahSuperstars.com or thefutureismagical.com. Higher tiers get you things like all access passes to Synchronicity University events, consultations with me, and so much more. All of this in the superstar space at NadiyaShahSuperstars.com. Links are in the description below. Thank you so much for watching. It'll be a great month. Enjoy.